Flosstube. This is Tara with Willed Woman Crafts, and I'm coming to you live on a Sunday morning. This is not a usual filming time for me, but she's erratic. I do have coffee with me this morning though, which is great because I never get to show this off since I normally film more in the afternoons. But this is a Wild Violet cross stitch pattern that she sells as a mug as well. So I know a lot of people in the community are really into tarot at the moment and get a lot out of that. So this is the snipper, I believe, the ripper, and the stitcher. And I have this chart. It actually makes a needle book, and I would love to have that needle book one day. But for now, I get to enjoy the mug. Amazing. It is, yeah, June 2nd. Happy Pride. I have cross stitch to show you. We are days away from StitchCon, and I kind of waffled, but I figured I would have probably so much to talk about after StitchCon that it made sense to go ahead and just update you now. So let's get to it. I don't want to keep you here all day. I don't want to keep me here all day. The first thing I want to show you in the fully finished objects category is I am going to show my StitchCon Smalls exchange piece. And basically, I think Michelle Bendy was the one who said, like, you don't know what the wrapping looks like, so I could show you the piece. But here she is. This is Spring Parade 2, I believe, by Lila Studio. And this, which is a set of like 4 charts, maybe I'll put it up here. But this is like the Radish car of those charts, which I just freaking love. A Radish, get out of here. I put some lace on it, and if you are a regular viewer, maybe you've seen this corduroy before, but I just thought it was perfect. It's kind of a much more like muted spring Easter adjacent, but I hope maybe it is more spring leaning than Easter, especially with kind of these like cooler tones. It's not so pastel. But anyway, I freaking love this. I stitched this on a 32 count platinum. I had actually planned this piece to be a Smalls exchange for Spring and Stars Hollow last year. The Gilmore Girls virtual retreat hosted by the Black Needle Society that is now over, but didn't get my act together. So I was really happy to make this this dream a reality because I envisioned it as an exchange piece, and now it finally exists. And I'm really happy about it. I feel like this lace is really giving it kind of grandma energy in the best way. And I really hope its recipient is excited about it because I really like it. So that is that. Next up in my frogging bag, my Rip It, which is an 805 stitcher bag that we got in our nice list box, which we have nice list news later. I finished the next installment of the Celebrate All Year Stitch Along, hosted by the Black Needle Society, and all these patterns are designed by Katie. And May was National Strawberry Month. And it's so cute. I love that there's like chocolate covered ones and just so much interest, the little like daisies. Very adorable. Love it. Obviously it's not fully finished, but I do have its interfacing on, so it's ready to go. And this, was stitched on navy Zweigart 32 count linen, which is the called for. And I'll go ahead and put up a picture. This month is National Camping Month, which is so funny because as soon as I saw it, I was like, I should have been able to guess that one because I think Pam of Just Keep Stitching is stitching a monthly series. I don't remember which one it is, but that theme for that monthly series was camping for June, and she explained that as well. She was like, oh, I didn't think mountains, but it's because it's National Camping Month. So anyway, I should have guessed that one. But that one will be the last one on the navy, and then we get to move on to our next color, which will be so exciting. So loved that. And next up, this is going to be a real surprise to you and me. My next finish is Bonaventure Mourning Sampler by Palpable Bart. Who knew stitching on something daily would result in its conclusion in a relatively short time frame? Not me. Sure as heck not me. I really like this. I'm really happy I stuck with it. It had some moments where I just really wasn't sure whether or not it was worth it. I probably should have immediately switched the fabric, I think was the biggest thing. We've talked about this. I believe this is Witchell. It's so stiff. Not enjoyable at all to work on, but it is done. I like the way the fabric looks with the piece on it. So I'm really happy about that. So did I say, yeah, this is a Palpable Bart chart. Originally in a Fangirl Fibers Halloween box a couple years back, and now complete and ready for me to display this Halloween. I'm very excited about it. And I'll share my fun fact. If you are newer around these parts, welcome. I started this chart in February of 2023 in Savannah, Georgia, in Bonaventure Cemetery. This is a real place. It is in Savannah, Georgia. And I put my first stitches in the upper right-hand corner in the cemetery. So that was very special. I was down there for a friend's birthday, so I was with her as well. And so as much as this fabric fought me, it was very cool. And when we left the cemetery, someone clocked my project bag, which had a vinyl front, and they were like, what is that? Is that stitching? And so we got to have a conversation about cross-stitching as we were leaving the cemetery as well. And I think this was a 32 count. It was one of those, you know, you put your preference for the box. So if I had to guess, I would have picked 32. Yes, okay, so that is that one. Next up was related to WhipGo. So my WhipGo board, which is like a bingo board game. You can check out the Facebook group, the Instagram, and Jessie Marie does stuff. The approach I took this year is I did mostly my calls on there are to fully finish things because that is a weak point for me. But additionally, for some smaller charts that I have that are series, I called for stitching the next thing in the series, basically. So for May, the call was for Swedish Neat Bells by Ink Circles. So I have fully finished the candle and I've stitched the reindeer. So I have 4 more to stitch, 5 more to finish. And so I stitched the next one, which this time was the angel. And it's done. These charts are fun and pretty small. The outer area is 310, and then the inner ones are different colors of classic Colorworks. Yes. Which I purchased this as a kit for the Jingle Ball as a finishing class, and it came with like all these charts and all the materials to finish all the charts, and the classic Colorworks for all the charts, you know, all that. So that's what I'm working with, and I think this might be platinum as well. 36 count platinum Edinburgh linen. Yeah, it is a 36 for sure. So I haven't fully like gotten up in detail with this one and the last one, because the last one I stitched of these, the reindeer, I stitched it in hand because I thought it would be a good one to try, and I did not feel that I had a great experience. I didn't feel like my stitches looked that great. And this one I did shove into a 6x6 Q-stamp, and I do want to kind of compare. It certainly felt faster to get through this, but I'd be curious to see now, like, if I can tell a difference between my stitching between in hand and Q-snap stitching, which, I mean, even if I could, I haven't really stitched in hand enough to be like, I don't know. I know I still could use practice in hand stitching is all I'm trying to say. Okay, and last up is the other Sal I'm caught up on. And this is the Stitch for Pride Stitch Along, designed by and hosted by D's 20 Stitches. And I put both this and my Whip Go Call right at the end of the month. We're talking 29th, 30th, 31st kind of finishes, but here we go. Yes, so this is the whole chart, and over here specifically was May's drop. And this artist that we read about and learned about is Yishay Garbasz. I think I've heard everyone pronounce. I'm committing. All the learning materials, I don't think any of the videos or anything like that actually had her saying her name, but she is a German trans artist and has a lot of really kind of interesting, sort of challenging topics that she tackles in her art. This design that Dee had specifically references like borders that's supposed to be barbed wire, and so she traveled and took photos at a lot of physical borders, so between like Israel and Palestine and North and South Korea, and then ones that I wouldn't have even thought of, like I didn't realize that there are physical fences between like Protestant and Catholic neighborhoods in Ireland. Of course, there's kind of varying degrees to these fences, right? Like the one in Ireland looks like a big chain link fence, like a tall, I think of something you'd see at like a baseball field or something, like a tall chain link fence. And other ones are, have more of the barbed wire, look much more menacing, and kind of juxtaposes like the brute force, the brute look of these physical barriers in these really beautiful, these otherwise beautiful landscapes. And then also talks about other barriers, like she took photos in like the exclusion zone around Fukushima in Japan. And so that's kind of like, that's a barrier that's not a physical barrier, but there's like a radiation barrier and people can't go back there. So like empty hospitals, crazy. Much to think and learn about for sure. So that was a really great one to work on, and I'll put up next month's as well. Since it's the second, I can actually share all this. So for June, the next artist we are stitching up is Frida Kahlo, and it's such a beautiful yellow. I can't wait to pick out the thread. Oh, I didn't tell you the thread. So this is 32 count base clay by Fox and Rabbit is the linen. And this is actually a thread I had already used before, shocker of shockers. But this is Craft Room by Forbidden Fiber Co. And this came in the Clue box. So I've actually used a good amount of this thread now, which is kind of wild. But I'm really happy about it. And June's piece will be down here. And we keep it pushing. So that is all of my finishes, finish for nows, fully finishes that I have for you. I have, hold on. Oh, okay. I have under here that I had to start those Arctic Friend Sal, but we talked about that last year. Also, hold please, there's a spider that got in here yesterday and he disappeared and he has reappeared. So let me just handle that. Hello, I did catch and release him, if that is important to anyone. He looked very nice. I have no quarrel with him. He's just too much in my space. So he can go do his business outside. Amazing. Well, I know it wasn't a break for you, but the suspense, the draw is going to be, the break is going to be worth the wait, because now we're going to move on to works in progress, of which I have 4, and of which one is Twisted Rainbow out of her frame, because I finished the next band. All right, let's see. I don't have like a board, but the board isn't even the right size anyway, so. There it is. That is the bottom. And as you can tell, that's good because we are running out. This is wild to me. This is a fat quarter of 28 count. And like, this is the border at the top. I mean, they're generous borders, but they're not generous. It's a big chart. That's the bottom. That is officially the bottom. Try to get in there for you. So yeah, you can see how all those stitches fit together, and that we actually have like a corner here, which I think I showed last time, but now it's, yep, done all the way to the top. And as I said excitedly so many times, because I have to keep telling myself to hype myself up, officially the next band is gonna be shorter than these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bands that I've been stuck in. They're getting smaller. They're getting smaller. We're gonna get there. Yeah, wow, so excited. So we get to continue in this beautiful lavender and carry on. And I haven't looked specifically, but you can see, I don't know if anyone's clocked this, it alternates butterflies and flowers. So this will be a butterfly row, a butterfly band, if you will. So yeah, as I said, this is 28 count, just like black Swigart, whatever I got on 1, 2, 3 stitch. And it is stitched with the Dinky Dyes silk pack that I got from Mislaid Pages. And I'm stitching the cross stitches 1/2. And all of the specialty stitches, which this is Twisted Rainbow by Northern Expressions Needlework. Sorry, I never show the cover of this because I'm like, it's so dramatic. Why? So yeah, there you go. It'll be these butterflies, almost look a little more moth-like. Yeah, second to last butterfly row by Northern Expressions Needlework. And my goal with that is I am finishing, since I'm working diagonally, it's to kind of finish like one pass up and down, or just up or down, every 2 weeks. And that one was due today, so I finished it up yesterday so I could show it today. Very exciting. Oh, I got a curly. Stick it straight out. Love that one. Next we have Dinosaur Forest, which this is my hashtag motif a week project hosted by Julie in Stitches, which my interpretation of is I am stitching 181 stitches a week at least, because that will have me done with this by the end of the year. So Twisted Rainbow and this one are both on goals to get them done by the end of the year, because these are my 2 oldest projects. So the excitement with this one, there's not that much to see, but we did hit the top corner, the top left corner. Yeah, I might have mixed that up on Bonaventure or earlier, but this corner, this is the one we made it to. And then other than that, I put in this guy with his hot orange pants and started this tall kind of tree here. So yeah, just chucking along. This is an Owl Forest embroidery chart that is that I purchased as a kit. So this is their kit linen and all the kit threads and the kit needle minder. So yeah, really happy to see that that corner edge there, and know that we are really a good way through this border, because I'm already, you know, it's getting down there. It's getting down there. We can wrap up the border pretty soon, but I think I'm going to allow myself to enjoy a couple weeks of maybe no border stitching, because there's a lot to fill in there. I really pushed it to the right. So yeah, and then this bag I didn't mention is from my friend Jenny, the quilt junkie on Instagram. I love it so much. And I was thinking to myself the other day, Jenny made a comment when she sent this to me that she was like, you don't always have to have a dino project in it. First of all, I do what I want. Second of all, since birds, modern birds, are basically dinosaurs, I will always have a dinosaur project in this. It just might be a modern bird. Next up, I have another kind of maybe surprise chart, one that's not been in the rotation. This is the replacement for Bonaventure Cemetery, which with this one, I'm attempting to stitch 200 stitches a day on kind of like my focus project. And this is a project that is kind of on the medium, smaller side, and one that is just languishing because I keep putting it aside for other things. And so I'm trying to just chip away at it and get it done. And it's been working. So this is Salem Sisters Apothecary by Primrose Cottage Stitches. I own this board, so that's a big reason that I am really wanting to have this done, because I have the full finishing setup ready. And this one, or I should say, it lives in another bag made by a friend. I'm so lucky. So this one is from Chandria Carroll Stitches, now on Flosstube and Instagram. But I think she's just Chandria Carroll on Instagram. Anyway, here's this chart. So it looks so full, I feel, but it's really just not that big. It's not that big of a chart. Like all this right here, I think I'm like 60% done. Yeah, so I've only done one day of stitching 200 stitches on this. Like I finished Bonaventure 2 days ago, and yesterday I did the stitching. So for that one, I added like the bottom of the, just to give you an idea of where 200 stitches gets you on this chart, I did this entire like band on this flask and the bottom, and then I did the star, this crow, and this swirly, and that was like 268. I did go over a little bit. And then I was feeling motivated, and I decided that I didn't want to have backstitch when I was done. So I went ahead and put in the backstitch on this spider, and then potions and charms, which you'll see is basically half the backstitch. Like it's sort of mirrored on the other side, that it has finest up here, and then tinctures, and there's another spider. And other than that, and the bird feet. So it's basically like I've done like half the back stitching, which is very exciting. And I'm stitching this on in the morning. I lose my voice apparently. It's too early. It's not even early. Excuse me. This is 32 count doubloon by Picture This Plus. I promise I'm not sick. I cannot be sick. I feel totally fine. I'm just, my voice is not wanting to stay with me. And I am stitching this monochromatic with Fiberlicious Shades of Gray. And I am really enjoying that. Some things are getting a little stripy, but I don't mind. And I think from a distance, you're not really seeing, it's not reading like, ooh, stripy. Up, if you got up in here real close, there might be a couple spots where you're like, but don't get so close. All right. Keeping it moving. I have one last whip to show you. And then, why am I trying to stuff this in the bag? I have one last whip for you. And then we got a little bit of plans. I have one thing in haul. And we're out. So in my other quilt junkie bag, R2, love him so much. This houses my Deadly Aquarium Stitch Along by Lola Crow Cross Stitch. and it was caught up until Friday. So I'll put up the chart as it stands now, but you can see where I was, or where I am. So yeah, since you last saw this, I just put in exhibition 1, which is this gorgeous moray eel with his victim there, the little skull and the diver's helmet. I just like, holy shading. It's incredible. It's incredible. And if anyone recalls, how do I want to phrase this? I offered to my brother, my younger brothers, my kind of significantly younger brother, he's 9 years younger than me, my younger brother's girlfriend, has been a little cross-stitch curious, and I sent her this Sal thinking there was no way she would go for it, and she bought it. And then we went fabric shopping together in April for it, and it was a delight. And I've just been kind of, I haven't been pressuring her, but I just have been curious to see if she felt like starting. And she did, so I'm going to share her progress. She's stitching this on 14 count Aida. And started on the right side, and is just kind of like, I think she started the frame like maybe a day or two before the first exhibit dropped. So, she's got a ways, but I am so happy she started and she's having a good time. And yes, I'm very happy. It's like exciting, kind of, when you're 9 years apart, I feel like you almost have to sort of, like, our childhoods didn't overlap in a lot of ways. So it's fun to kind of grow in friendship with my brother and his girlfriend as adults now. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. So that's all the stitching. Yeah, that is all stitching. Love that. So I ended up having, I guess I could tell you, doing 2-week intervals, I don't always think of having sort of like monthly stats anymore because I'm not talking to you a month at a time. But I will share, May ended up being my second stitchiest month of the year so far. So I did nearly 15,000 stitches this month. So it was quite a busy month. And so right now, I feel like in my end of year stats, I want to have kind of like with counting the Sals as one thing versus counting the Sals as separate things, because for Celebrate All Year, technically that's one Sal, but they are 12 unique charts. So I've been counting them all as different starts and finishes. And similarly, Stitch for Pride, you can stitch it as a spot sampler, which I'm doing, but again, it can also be stitched separately. It's everyone is a completely different vibe. They can be stitched separately. They're celebrating different artists. So I have those in my Notion as well as individual starts and finishes. So it's like, it's wild when you think about it that way. And similarly in my Notion, I don't know why I feel like I have to explain this all to you. I'm so sorry, but my ink circles round robin, just to log like what I was working on. I do have that, even though it's like a quarter of a chart that I stitched in my last video, if you saw, I have that as a start and finish as well. So with all of that into account, I had 7 starts and 7 finishes in the month of May, which is kind of wild to think about. So yeah, so basically but they were all small. So the only start I had in May that I didn't finish by the end of May was the Arctic Friends Sal by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, which is another stitch along. And then under the finishes, so I finished 6 of the things I started, and the 7th thing was Bonaventure Mourning Sampler. So it's like a lot of holding the whip line, but that's why I'm really excited about this 200 stitches a day prospect for as long as I have the energy for it, because that's kind of like on top of all of these like little things that I'm stopping and starting every single month, or I'm like starting and finishing every single month. I'm actually like ticking away at my sort of like base whip count from the start of the year, with the 200 stitches a day, because I guess I didn't say, with Salem Sisters, I am going to end up bringing that to StitchCon, because based off the count that I have for stitches left, I did it on June 1st, and it is going to be 9 days of stitching 200 stitches a day, which I've already like exceeded to, you know, it's going to be like a week basically before I finish that chart, and I should be at StitchCon when I finish. So that is kind of my hopeful finish for StitchCon. And that's very exciting. So there's kind of your May stats. And then, yeah, so as far as plans, the Whip Go calls for June. The first call that I had was to fully finish Must Be Possible, which if you saw my last video, or you can just go look at the thumbnail if you didn't catch it, I did finish. So got that one ahead of schedule. That one's checked off. And secondly is fully finishing Lil Hex Teacup by D's 20 Stitches. I'll probably put a picture up because I don't have it handy. But I think I'm going to pursue finishing this similar to how D did it, which was sort of in like a wrapped hoop with little like skeleton hands and like a bow on it. I think I'm going to do that. I don't know. I want to think on it a little bit, because this is a series of 3. If you haven't seen these, there's also like Lil Hex Planchette and Tome, like a book. And I want all 3 of them together. So I am trying to think of like how I just saw Hillary of Subpar Stitches show like a cool triptych frame that she found at Michael's. So maybe like a triptych would be cool. I'm not sure. So I want to think on it, but that's the other one slated for a finish this month, but it's June 2nd and we got StitchCon, so I'm not thinking about it for a while. So lastly, I have haul for you, which really, like I said, is just one thing. It's a box. It's me. It's a box. Where's the box? So this is the Black Needle Society's yearly, so they have 2 kinds of boxes basically. They have their bi-monthly, so like every other month, their bi-monthly subscription box, which, you know, that's where, like, if you are a Black Needle Society BNS subscriber, that's what comes every other month. But you also always have the option, and I did this for a couple months before I got off the wait list to be a subscriber. They always sell off like extras beforehand, so you can always like just keep an eye out, follow their socials, follow their emails, and if there's a box theme that you're really interested in, you can try to snag just like a one-off subscription box. But otherwise they sell their like special edition boxes, and some of those have events associated with them, some of them don't, but they're usually like a little spendier, and yeah, they're usually a little spendier, have a little more in them. Again, may have an event associated with them, that kind of thing. So the Novels and Needles box is, for example, the Must Be Possible chart I was just discussing. That came from a Novels and Needles box 2 years ago where the theme was like murder mystery. And then last year's theme is completely gone. But anyway, this year it's Something Wicked This Way Comes is the theme. And so we're talking about story villains, which everyone loves a villain. And I will say, I'm sorry this is coming to you late, but the extras for this box went in the vault yesterday. So if you need to pause and go check out the vault, use my code WILDWOMAN5. It'll be down in the down bar. Go check it out. This is, I'm going to just spoil it a little bit. This is a top 5 box for me, I think, of anything we've ever received. So go check the vault, but I will show you what we got. Right. So first off, I'm just going to pull, I have everything in the project bag, so I'm just going to pull things out. So first up, we got this oven mitt, which has a nibble little mouse who is nibbling at my house. So this is Hansel and Gretel, I believe. I can read the spoiler card to you. I'm sorry. I was so excited when this came. I didn't film a bespoke thing. So yeah, the Gingerbread Hag's Oven Mitt, designed by the Black Needle Society. Baking up some evil plans. Make sure you don't get burned like the gingerbread hag from Hansel and Gretel with this exclusive oven mitt, which I will say, this looks like you could do like welding with it on this side. Like a very industrial oven mitt that gets you all the way up to your nearly up to your elbow there. So that was very fun. Next up, oh boy. We got Edgar Allan Poe themed Telltale Heart thread hearts, which I already put on a ring. They match my fit today. So there's 2 different styles of these. So the first style of the heart is these like chunky glitter? No, chunky sparkles. And then the other style is kind of the like marble, it's kind of luscious red marble here. So this is a 12 pack. Let's see, where do we, oh yeah, the Telltale Thread Hearts made by Adam Hart. We're mad for these custom thread hearts inspired by Edgar Allan Poe's short story and murderous black-hearted main character. I mean, yeah, if you've not seen the buzz about Adam Hart thread drops, they are a thread drop. You can kind of like wrap them around the heart, which is very cool. And they have a slot for extra bits and bobs, which I love. And even in these small packs, she sends like a sticker sheet if you want to do the like friction pen sticker situation. Because I will say, you know, I know you can write in Sharpie on these and remove it, but obviously when it's like really dark on the back, like these ones are black on the back, it could be kind of tricky if you don't have like a silver Sharpie or something like that. So I do like using the stickers as a general practice. Next up, Miriam, if you're watching, they're Crowley's Wings Scissors Good Omens. Oh, the way I shrieked. They're so big, and I have been waiting. I've been good. I did not take them out of the package so we could all look at them together. They're so hefty. Oh my gosh. I was like, I'm excited all over again. I knew these were in here. What in the world? Okay. Crowley's Demon Wings Embroidery Scissors. Crowley can't be all bad if his best friend is an angel, though he did help start the apocalypse. Use these scissors inspired by the Good Omens Demon's black wings when working on your next project. Oh my gosh. Yeah, incredible. Okay. Next up, this was attached. The needle minder for this box is themed off the Count of Monte Cristo, which I have no familiarity with. So sorry. But hopefully this is exciting to you. It's a chess piece and it says Kings to You. And it's designed by the Black Needle Society. The Count of Monte Cristo is full of villains and anti-heroes. Celebrate your life's, or Stitching's, victories with this needle minder inspired by the chess piece exchanged by Dante and Mondego. Very cute. I said, I personally do prefer a like smaller needle minder. I like my needle to exceed the width of the needle minder, so I love it. Next up is our specialty threads for this box, which are Gentle Arts. Yep. That are inspired by some villains. I'm trying to think of a good background here. So the oven mitt might be a good background. Even though it's silver. So we have Ursula is this purple. Count Olaf, this is kind of like brown gray, which I do love the Jim Carrey series of unfortunate events, so I feel like I always see this and I want to pronounce it, your beloved Count Olaf. Then we have Moriarty, little Sherlock. sorry, maybe I lied. This is a brown gray. This is just, they're both kind of brown grays, but one's more brown and one is more gray. Moriarty. And last but not least, we have Elphaba. These are all really great tones that I feel like are extremely useful. I like the tonals. So that was a great thread pack for us. We're getting down to it. Next up, we got in this organza bag a little mirror, which has a surprise function later. So this is the Evil Queen from Snow White, and it says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all?" Yeah, it's a little mirror. You can look at my trees. So yeah, very cute little handheld mirror that, like I said, gets even better when you know where we're going. Oh, sorry, I haven't been reading. Sheesh. Okay, so for the threads, we have the Gentle Arts threads. We asked the Gentle Art to create a thread pack for us inspired by some of our favorite literary villains and anti-heroes. Count Olaf from Series of Unfortunate Events, Elphaba from Wicked, Ursula or the Sea Witch from The Little Mermaid, and Moriarty from The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Okay. And then the pocket mirror, maybe the Evil Queen's pocket mirror. Just because you may be bad doesn't mean you don't want to look your best. Make sure you're the fairest of them all with this travel pocket mirror. Oh, I almost forgot. I brought this over, but I almost didn't show you. We also got a bowl with a spoon. My spoon shattered into multiple pieces upon prior to arrival. So I did send that in, and my replacement spoon is coming out. I think what happened, because I know a couple people who had chips and cracks, I think there was nothing closing the spoon into the bubble wrap. Like, it was in bubble wrap, there was bubble wrap involved, but the spoon was outside of the bubble wrap. So I think it just fell out is what happened. So anyway, I will be getting a replacement spoon for this. And it's funny, I've watched some other folks unboxings and everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna use it to decorate this or that. I have already eaten out of this and I will continue to eat out of this. This is my new soup bowl. We own 3 like ramekins that are of similar size to this. And because we own 3 and we are a leftover house, you know, it's like second night of leftovers because we also use the dishwasher. I don't want to do dishes every night. Somebody always gets like screwed on the second night of leftovers with only having 3 ramekins. So now we have a 4th. I don't know if ramekin is the right word when it's this big, but we have a 4th big soup boy with high sides, and I'm very excited about it, if you can't tell. So that was the Maiden, Mother, and Crone Cauldron Bowl and Spoon, designed by Courtney Johnson. By the pricking of our thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Cast your own curses with this cauldron bowl, inspired by Shakespeare's witches from Macbeth, or simply stir up some scrumptious soup. The choice is yours. I'm a soup girl. Okay, so I have 2 things left for you in here. No, 3 things. Sorry, lied. Fabric. So this fabric is Mischief, the God of Mischief fabric. So this is a Loki fabric by Laura's Fabrics. I die. I love this a lot. I picked the linen option for this box, so this is a 32 count linen. I think this was one you could vote on. I think so. Some of the boxes, some of the specialty boxes, like if there's a kit involved, you don't get to choose your fabric, but otherwise, if it's just like cuts to add to your stash, you usually get a preference. And I'm pretty sure this was a preference. Because I think I watched Cece's unboxing and they had Ada, if I remember correctly. Anyway, mine 32 count linen. Okay, now second to last. We got this Maleficent project bag. Same on both sides. Beautiful purple interior. Never enough project bags. So, oh, sorry. The God of Mischief fabrics made by Laura's Fabrics. What chaos will you cross stitch on this gorgeous custom fabric from Laura Murillo? This color was inspired by our favorite mischievous god, Loki. And then the Maleficent project bag, designed by June Page Art. Keep your stitching safe from evil curses cast by the slighted Fae Queens in this water-resistant project bag. You wouldn't want to sleep on your stitching for 100 years while you wait for someone to come wake you up. All right, so last but not least, this box does have an event with it, and it is a finishing class with Lady Creates. So we got a project to do. Okay, everything just fell. 1 second. We have a project to work on for that class, and here is the chart and the finish. So it has Bring Me Her Heart, which it took me a second, but you know, especially from a distance. So the apple is like, and all of this up here, your little ventricles and aorta, it's like a anatomical heart when you look at it all together. I freaking love this. So they did send us, so this was one, you did not get a choice on this fabric. They just sent this. So we have a little cut of Vintage Country Mocha and 32 count. We have, this is what's spilled everywhere because we didn't get like complete skeins because this is a small project, but we got the threads, and then we got a finishing pack. So what's exciting, you thought I was going to forget about the mirror. I didn't forget about the mirror. Is this finish will have a pocket for the mirror on the back. So stinking cute. And I feel very confident that I can get this circle looking right because I've had great practice with the Celebrate All Year sound. So yeah, let's see. Bring Me Her Heart kit and finishing kit. Inspired by Snow White's Evil Queen's Murderous Pursuit. This design depicts the poison apple encased in a heart in the woods. Once you finish stitching this piece, check your inbox for finishing instructions from Lady Creates and join us for our Zoom finishing class with Lois on June 15th. I am very excited about it. So yeah, that's when the finishing class will be. And then I'll share, here's their 2 book recommendations and some features on the back. So yay. Other than that, I'll just roll into some quick BNS news. I am a rep for the Black Needle Society, which means that I receive the regular bi-monthly subscription boxes in order to share them with you. May's box did have some delays, so we just got a shipping notice yesterday. I think they packed yesterday, which probably means realistically it's gonna arrive like Wednesday or Thursday, at which point I will be at StitchCon. So I think that leaves me with, I will be filming that as soon as I get home. But that one will be the restricted section box. So the theme is like banned books. But I do purchase myself these special edition boxes, is what I wanted to clarify. So I am a rep for them. Like I said, if you want to go check out any of these items in the vault, you can use my code WILDWOMAN5 for 5% off. And then I also wanted to note that the Nice List is up for pre-order right now. If you caught the last 2 years, I have shared opening 2 or 3 years? God, no, 2 years. 2 years. I have shared myself opening this box. It is a joy and a delight to me. It is something I look forward to every year. It is their spendiest box. I get it. So they do offer a payment plan on this one where you can put half, you can pay for half now. And then I think there's like 2 subsequent payments later, which is definitely helpful because it can be tough to take a hit that big in the middle of the year. But yeah, I am very excited to receive this box. The Nice List box is, they try to make it winter themed. There are some Christmas elements for sure, so just keep that in mind. But in the Nice List box, you do receive 3, well, at least 3. Last year we got, you know, the surprise Celebrate All Year, so we kind of got bonus kits, but you absolutely know that you will receive 3 fully kitted projects with pattern, fabric, and threads. And they announced the designers already for this year, which are, it's a fantastic lineup. It is Silver Creek Samplers, The Artsy Housewife, and Ink Circles, which I know we've all been loving our Ink Circles lately. And Artsy Housewife has really been popping off lately. So it's a hot box. So pre-orders for that are open until they run out, or until June 20th. And I think, you know, whereas a lot of things that they have do run out really fast, I'm not going to say hold me to it will definitely still be available by June 20th, but I do find that you have time if you need to like double check if that's something you want or not. You're welcome to go check out old videos of mine, or message me, you know, whatever. It's a big investment, I understand. But either way, I will be opening it later this year. I did put my order in for mine. Yes, and then last BNS update, I wanted to also again plug the Books with BNS group. This is a free Facebook group. You don't have to be a subscriber, you know, whatever. You just, if you want to try a stitchy book club that is not the stitching book club, let me not get wires crossed here. This is hosted by the Black Needle Society, and we vote on books, and there's like, it's like 2 months between. So like, for example, we met yesterday to discuss a book, and the next discussion will be August. It would have been the first weekend in August, but that is Camp Black Needle, so the second weekend in August, August 10th. And the book we're reading next is The Reappearance of Rachel Price. I'll have a cover here, and which sounds really good. I will disclose, I have not been really keeping up. Like, the book 2 books ago, I listened to about half of it, and then this most recent book, I've not been having luck with my library. Things are just on hold for forever. So like 2 books ago, the only reason I even got to listen to half of it is because I found it on Hoopla and it was immediately available. But the past book, which was the Thursday Murder Club, was not available on Hoopla. So that is that. That is all I have. I'm under an hour. Oh my gosh. I could do this. Okay, we do this every 2 weeks. It'll get better. It'll get better. I could stay under an hour. I can. Yeah, anyway, I am just so excited about StitchCon. I just can't even, like, I don't even think I can grasp how excited I am. I've thought about things I want to bring. I have kind of my projects picked out. And I don't know, every time I'm watching Flosstube and I see someone mention that they're going, that I watch, you know, and I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm going to do with myself with all of these people in one room. And yeah, I think I was watching Cam's video yesterday or the day before, and she mentioned that people said she gives like short energy, but she's like 5'10", pushing 5'11". Girl, I don't know what energy I give, but I am also 5'10". I am the daughter of a 6-foot woman, so I am also tall, rocking it. So I'm very curious to see everybody in person and not like a floating head. I guess, yeah, just if you happen to be someone that maybe we have only chatted online, or maybe, you know, we haven't really chatted much at all and you want to say hi, absolutely say hi. I would love, I'm just excited to talk to freaking everybody. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I'm gonna film myself really quickly with my table gifts so I can show you those afterwards, because I'm very excited about those. And then I'm gonna get my butt to stitching, because I got goals. Got goals to stay on top of, but it has been just a great year so far stitching wise. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. I don't know if this is going out today or tomorrow, but I hope that you're having a lovely whatever day that you are watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye.